I'm Matt Reese. I'm the editor for Ohio's Country Journal. I'm talking with Curtis Graham. We're here in Muskingum County at Freedom Fish Farms, and we're going to learn about tilapia production and why soybeans are an important part of that production. So first, Curtis, could you just tell me a little bit about the farm and how you got started here in Muskingum County?
Sure. So the wife and I, we purchased this property in about 2016, and then in about 2018 is when we started building this facility after I gained a little bit of knowledge of how to raise fish and make it successful.
Now, Curtis, you don't just wake up on a Tuesday and walk into a facility like this and know what you're doing. This took a while. This was a learning curve, right? Can you talk about how you learned and how you developed this facility behind us?
Sure. And so we got into, basically it was a boot camp program through OSU. So OSU had a boot camp program that lasted a year long, and it was one day a month. We would go and we'd visit down in Piketon, Ohio, and we kind of gained knowledge on the aquaculture industry. And so it was a year-long program that gave us lots of knowledge to kind of help us just with the learning curve of jumping into agriculture and into this aquaculture side and what to do. And so that was the biggest step. And then I had many different pilot systems in my garage, in my barn, of learning how to put systems together, what worked best, learning how to flow water, and just and circulate the water to keep the fish alive. And so that's kind of what I did.
And we hear the soothing sounds of water running behind us. That's all part of the process. It's 100% tilapia here, right? Tell me a little bit about why there's demand and consistent demand for tilapia around Ohio and other places.
Yep. So tilapia, they are high demand fish. They're high demand in the food side, especially Asian markets. They don't want to be buying their tilapia from overseas either. They want it as local and as fresh as possible. Just like you and I, we want our red meat as local and as fresh as possible. We don't want to buy it from overseas. And so that's the very good high demand that they want, and they want a good quality fish, and they want it live so that they can kind of see it and know it's fresh. The other side is for pond stocking, and tilapia have played a big role in Ohio where we can stock tilapia in residential waterways in Ohio, and we can do that because they eat a lot of algae and vegetation in people's ponds, and we stock males and females in the ponds, and they breed about every 30 days, and so they produce a lot of foraging fish and a lot of new mouths to start eating all that algae and vegetation to kind of keep up with that growth over the summer.
That's how you reel those big bass out of the farm ponds, right? It's tilapia.
Correct, yes. It's a hidden secret no one knew about.
Now, all these tilapia you're raising here, roughly how many are going through in a year or monthly basis, or however you monitor that?
So each tank of these has about 4,000 tilapia in each one of my grow-out tanks. Generally, in the years past, I've been selling a lot of food fish, and so usually about every 6 to 8 weeks, I'd bring a new batch of about 4,000 to 5,000 fish in. And so that was kind of my rotation. I would clean one of the big tanks out, take them to market, and that would take me 6 to 8 weeks to do. And in the meantime, I'd be bringing new fish in. And so then I have a series of 6 tanks in here that I'd kind of rotate through the whole year and do that type of process. With pond stocking, though, it's basically all in, all out almost. And so it kind of creates a little bit of a hiccup with the food fish side because pond stocking, you want to get them in as soon as you can in the spring when the water temperatures are warm enough, and so that's usually mid-May, and basically I'm all out of pond tilapia in about 3 weeks.
Now, in terms of the feed, they're omnivores, so tilapia eat both plants and meat products. How does the feed need change as the fish grow?
Yep. So yes, tilapia in the beginning, we kind of start them off on more of a fish byproduct meal. Just when the young juvenile fish, it gives them a lot of good protein there in the beginning. But as they get bigger, the feed meal that we're going with, they actually make a diet that's made for tilapia. And so we switch them over to that tilapia diet that has all that soybean meal in it. And all fish just do wonderful on it, really.
We took a look at the feed label earlier, and the number one ingredient, it's soy meal on there. Why is soy such a good part of the diet for fish? Why does that work well for your operation?
For tilapia, it works well. Like you said, they're omnivores. And so when they have the opportunity, they'll opportunistic fish where they're always grazing all the time, generally in their native ponds and waterways. And so they're generally going to be grazing on plants and vegetation and algae in the ponds, and that's kind of what they're looking for, is that type of protein in their diet. And so tilapia do great with soybean meal.
And as these fish grow, they eat quite a bit. You're out here checking on things very regularly and feeding them very regularly. How much feed do you go through for these fish?
So it kind of depends on the size of the fish and what fish I have in here at the time, but usually it's about 40 to 50 pounds a day that we're throwing feed into the fish, into the ponds.
Now, soy is also important, not only because it's a valuable source of protein for the fish, it also really helps with your bottom line and the cost of the feed, right? How's that play into things?
That is correct. And so the bags of feed that I have to buy when they're young and juvenile, those bags of feed that have that fish meal byproduct in it, they're about $50, $45 a bag, versus the bags that have all the soybean meal in it is about $21, $22 a bag.
I'm not super smart, Curtis, but that seems like the economics pan out a little bit better with that soy feed in there.
You are correct, yes.
So what do you want folks to know in Ohio about the importance of the aquaculture industry in consuming some of that feed, but also in providing the fish that is in demand around the state?
It's kind of crucial for us, because if we had to buy that higher price feed, it almost wouldn't make it sense for us to have the tilapia and sell them as food fish, because the price of feed, the price of input that I'm putting into the product would be too high to be able to turn around and try and sell them for the price of the demand right now for those. And so having the soybean meal just really helps our bottom line out, and it helps us get the product at a good value to the customer base for the food side.
Excellent. I appreciate the information. I've been talking with Curtis Graham. He's with Freedom Fish Farms. We're here in Muskingum County, and just highlighting the great relationship between folks like Curtis and the soybean producers from around the state of Ohio. Thanks all for tuning in. I'm Matt Reese with Ohio's Country Journal.